Hey everybody, Mike Kim here, along with my buddy Robbie Fowler. Robbie, give everybody a wave. What's up? We are honored that you'd spend your day with us here, whether you're here live or watching on the replay. It's always an honor when people invest their time and their energy into something that we put together, and we hope that today's presentation is really going to help you move forward. Today, I want to talk about how to turn what you already know into 9 or more income streams. And buckle up, we've got a lot of ground to cover, but I think it's all good. Now, for those of you who are here live, how many of you is this the first time you're on a masterclass with me, on a training with me? Give me a yes in the chat, or raise your hand. Okay, so we got a lot of first timers. Okay, welcome to the party, welcome to the neighborhood. Thanks for being here. And so I also know that I've got quite a few people who already know me and worked with me in the past who are here as well. So if you are like an MK and Robbie veteran, thanks also for diving in today. So I feel like I should take a moment just to introduce myself a little bit. Over the past 10 years, I have been really privileged to work in what I call the thought leadership or personal brand space, and I've spoken at some of the industry leading events. I've worked right alongside and been hired by some of today's top thought leaders in the industry, especially in business. And I get to work from wherever I want. It's seriously such an honor. And I've been featured in a couple of publications here and there, and so on and so forth. But my life didn't really always look this way, and I think some of you might be able to identify, no matter what stage of life and business you're in. It wasn't too long ago that my days sort of looked like this, and these are honestly real pictures from me when I was working my day job, and that's a real picture on the left. I didn't post for that. That was a candid photo taken by my partner at the time, and those were selfies at work. And you can see there, I had the corner office, nice office. I was just dying inside, and everything on the outside looked good. I had a six-figure paying job. I had a position of importance at my company. Everything looked good on the outside, but on the inside, I was kind of dying. Can anyone relate to that? Yeah, and I spent not just the daytime, but those sleepless nights when you're staring at the ceiling, asking myself, "What am I gonna do with my life?" And I didn't really know if I was sentenced to this kind of existence for the rest of my years. And I knew I wanted something different, even though I was grateful for what I had. I think that's an interesting distinction. When you're grateful for what you have, but you still want more, you want to do more, you feel like your life is supposed to matter in a bigger way than what you're doing, or just being important at a company, or making money, or working for a certain organization. And I did not know where to go. I didn't know what steps to take. And my life felt a lot like this little guy here. I just knew I had to take steps forward, but I didn't know where I was going. All I could see was the next step right in front of me. Anyone ever feel like this? Give me a Y in the chat if you felt like this. Just give me a yes if you felt like this at times, right? And you may still feel like this. And honestly, still feel like this at times, but I've learned some things along the way through the last 10 years that I think that can help you. So today's session is going to be quite interactive. And even if you're watching on the replay, I want you to participate, because thoughts disentangle themselves through the tips, the lips and the fingertips, right? When we talk it out or speak it out or write it out, thoughts disentangle themselves through the lips or the fingertips, right? So I want us to be somewhat active and interactive today. And I'm going to pull up two options for you right now, and just type in the number that you want more. Okay. You'll see one common thing between the two of them, but most of us here can be divided into two camps. Number one, we want freedom and money. And number two, we want fulfillment and money. And I want you to just give me a quick top of the mind answer on what you want. It's about split right down the middle. It's like a 1 and a 2, right? And I'm gonna give some time here to let it percolate, let the answers come in. We got a lot of people here on the call. All right. I'm loving the honest responses. And can I share something that I've honestly learned over the last 10 years and have learned not just from my own business, but from working with so many people in my industry? Um, if you're in the thought leadership space, meaning that you are looking to build a business and make income and generate revenue based off what you know, typically you should lean towards number two more than number one. And let me explain why. If you ask my friends or family if I've made good money, they will say generally, yes. If you ask them, Mike has a lot of free time, they will honestly say to you, sometimes, but that dude works a lot. And I do, but it's because I find my work really fulfilling. The word fulfillment, right? If you really think about that word, I'm a word nerd. I come from a copywriting background. For those of you who don't know, I write a lot, but it's the process of being full because what you do fills you up, right? And yes, I can take time off. I'll be taking 3 weeks off at the end of this year. In years past, I've taken entire months off at a time, but I still come back to work fired up about what I do. Can anyone relate to that? Say me if you can relate to that. You have to like be pulled away from your laptop, your phone, because you love what you do. So, for the purposes of today, even though I'm talking about income streams, I'm not really going to focus on number one. I'm going to focus on point number two, fulfillment and money. Is that okay? Is that cool? I just want to clarify because I have a lot of friends across many different gamuts of business and entrepreneurship. And I have friends, very good friends. All they want is freedom and money. They don't want to work ever. They just want to play golf all day, travel, eat at swanky restaurants, do their thing, whatever hobbies they have. They truly want freedom and they don't really care how they make the money. But for folks like me and for the many people I coach, they actually more fall into category two. They love working, they love what they do for work, and they really care about how they make money because they want to do it in a fulfilling way. So now that I've shared that, who leans a little bit more towards two? You can revise your answer if you'd like. It's possible to have freedom and fulfillment, but I think those two get mixed up so much that we lose our way and we make decisions, or this is really important, we take on beliefs, we take on narratives from other people that are not building their business or their life the way that we really want to. So my job here today is to really clarify all that. I think most of us want fulfillment. We want purpose. We want this meaning in what we do. Because otherwise, if I really just wanted freedom, I could probably go out, invest in some real estate. I don't know, buy a bunch of crypto. It's bouncing back now. Who knows? Right. And go make Q-tips and just kick back. I don't want to do that. I love making my living and making an impact doing what I do. And I do it even if I wasn't paid. Okay. All right. So now that we're talking about fulfillment and money, I want to talk about how to align all this with who you really are and the revenue streams. So, 5 principles for today. Number one, I want to encourage you to walk before you run. Number two, your framework frames the work. Everyone say, ooh, that's good. I can't wait to hear more about that. Many of you have frameworks, intellectual property frameworks. You have processes and systems and intellectual property, but your framework frames the work. I'm going to share with you what that means and how to do it. Number three, this is the marketer in me speaking. Do the difficult work of making it simple. Really important. Number four, this is hard to swallow sometimes, but we really have to lay hold of this. Peers rarely pay. Peers rarely pay. And number 5, some of you won't like this, but it's up to Uncle Mike today to be real with you. Get rich slow. Get rich slow. If you already love what you do for a living, you love coaching and speaking, all of these things, what's the rush? Let's build. Let's build properly. Okay. All right. So walk before you run. Your framework frames the work. Do the difficult work of making it simple. Peers rarely pay and get rich slow. So let's dive into number 1, walk before you run. And this part is also going to be interactive. I got this from my buddy Todd Herman. Todd wrote the foreword to my book, and he is a terrific, terrific coach, entrepreneur, brilliant, brilliant dude, brilliant mind. I'm so glad I've got to know Todd. He's just exploded onto the scene over the years. And he shared with me this framework years ago, which really helped me. So all credit to Todd. But he calls these the 5 stages of business. I want to ask you which one you find yourself in right now. Number 1 is the startup stage, where you need to validate your product, your offer, your niche, and even your intellectual property. You need to validate that. Number 2, you're ramping up. You're making money, but the income is unpredictable. You're kind of like a feast and famine situation, up and down. Some months are really good, some years are really good, but month to month, you're not really sure where the next revenue chunk is going to come from. And that's a really tough way to live. Number 3, build up. Money is coming in. It's awesome. It's consistent, but you are the business. You're working a lot and you love working, but you're like, this is kind of a lot, right? Okay. Number 4, scale up. You need systems and processes. You're like, I can't do this alone anymore. It's too much for my hands to hold. Somebody help me. And number 5, you are a leader up. You have both of what I said before. You have both financial and time freedom. You're a trusted authority in your niche and your market. You are professionally famous to the people you need to be well known to. Okay. All right. So I see a couple of the responses here. We have a lot of 1, 2s, and 3s, which is totally normal. We have between 3 and 4, a couple of folks, which is awesome. Okay. And it's important to know the stage of business you're in, because every stage has different moves. Every stage has different moves. Just to recap really quickly, when you're in the startup phase, you need to test, not theorize. You need to test. You need to go to the market and go in front of real people and test ideas. The biggest temptation or pitfall that I see people make in the startup phase is they tinker and they toy and they spend all their time learning and studying, and they don't go to the market, and they get distracted by shiny object syndrome, or they beat themselves up that they're not further along because they're comparing themselves to someone who's at stage 5, and that's just not fair. Please do me a favor. If you are in the startup or the ramp up stage, stop comparing yourself to Mr. and Miss thought leader, extraordinaire guru, expert out there. If watching their content and listening to their podcasts and reading their books and watching their YouTube videos is not inspiring you to take action, but rather making you feel more guilty and worthless and stupid, you need to stop watching some of those videos. Can I get a yes in the chat? This is really a serious problem I see for people in the startup stage. You're comparing yourself to Alex Hormozy or Gary Vaynerchuk or Amy Porterfield. Can I just be honest with you? Alex Hormozy runs a bunch of gyms. That's how he got rich. Anyone here looking to open a gym? If not, stop watching the videos. It's not a slam on Alex. He's awesome. I've met him. He is a brilliant mind. But what's happening to you is you're ingesting all this content and you're hearing it from somebody who is in a leader up position. And what happens when people get to that place of leadership in their business, they forget how hard it was. How many of you have ever tried to explain to your kids or a young kid, nephews, nieces, you name it, how to tie their shoes or how to walk or how to play basketball. You're just like, just do it. And you forgot. They don't know how to throw with their left hand or tie their shoes. You forget. We all forget. So if it's not bearing good fruit for you, you need to turn it down. In the ramp up stage, the biggest pitfall I see for people at that stage is they don't have a distinct message to stand out in the marketplace and they don't have one clear marketing channel. So they're just kind of all over the place. They don't have an email list. This is a really big deal. I'll talk about this in a few minutes. And they're just going from gig to gig and it's creating that feast and famine. Build up stages, money's coming in, but you're the business. The challenge at the build up stage is you're so busy, you don't have time to work on stage 4, which is the systems and processes you need to scale up. You're so busy and you want to keep making good money and you're saying yes to every opportunity, or you're just not managing your time well and you're not documenting your processes. And in stage 3, that's when you really need to put on your adult gear, uniform. You need to start adulting as a business owner and really start documenting the systems and the processes that you need so that you can hire up the help that you need. Okay. So does this make sense? Give me a why in the chat if this makes sense. It is really important to know where you are. Do not beat yourself up that you're not in stage 5. It takes 10 years to get there. Name any online guru you follow of any substance, and I will show you how long it really took them to get there. Okay. So don't rush. Get rich slow, but build smart. All right. Let's get into a couple of the income streams for thought leaders. Now, this is solely as a thought leader, meaning you are paid for what you know. I know some of you here are photographers, you're freelance writers, you are web designers, you provide services. I'm going to put all that aside and just talk about you monetizing what you know. Okay. These are in no particular order, but these are at least 7 streams that I see. You can coach, you can speak, you can consult, you can train, you can facilitate, you can author, and you can create content. Okay. Coaching, speaking, consulting, training, facilitating, authoring, content creation. All of these are different and you don't have to do all of them. Now, let me get into what I mean by these a little bit more specifically. When I talk about coaching, I'm talking about one-on-one with a client. How many of your coaches and you love it? You love one-on-one work, right? We have a bunch of people who are raising their hands. You love it, right? Can I let you in on a little secret? I don't love it. I don't love it, and that's okay. I'll send the people who want to work with me one-on-one to you guys, right? Speaking, paid to speak at events. You're not just speaking for free, but you're being paid to speak at the event. That's really important. They're paying your travel, your hotels, and your speaking fee. Consulting, you're advising or fixing problems. You're strategizing for a client. Number 4, in training, you're helping them develop skills. In facilitating, you are hosting and you are stewarding group dynamics. Number 6, authoring. I'm talking specifically about books or paid newsletters. And number 7, content creation. That means you're essentially an influencer, which there's nothing wrong with. A lot of them make a lot of money. But as a content creator, you are probably on YouTube or on Instagram or on TikTok, and you're doing sponsorships and stuff like that. Okay. So I know today's training, I said I'd talk to you about 9 streams of income. Here are 7. So here are a couple more that I can put under each of these. Like, for example, in training, you could white label other frameworks and intellectual property and sell it as your own. For example, how many of you are hired to come into companies and administer the DISC assessment or some other personality or work dynamic assessment? Give me a yes in the chat if you can. You didn't create DISC, you didn't create StrengthsFinder, you didn't create those frameworks, but you're white labeling them, right? Or you can serve as an affiliate. You can take someone else's training that you've studied and sell it to companies or businesses or even individuals. In authoring, you can write journals and newsletters outside of books. How many of you have a journal that you use? I do. I have a something called the 5-minute journal. It's my gratitude journal. I also use this journal. It's called the Full Focus Journal or Full Focus Planner from one of my very first mentors in business, Michael Hyatt. I use it for work. It's terrific. He makes a ton of money off that journal. He does a lot of these other 7 things, but he makes a lot of money off that journal. Okay. And then content creation. I said this before, ads and sponsors. Now I saw someone was asking, what's the difference between coaching and consulting? This is a really good question. Who wants to take a stab at it in the chat? Those of you who are officially properly trained in coaching, what's the difference between coaching and consulting slash mentoring? What's the difference between the two? Cassie hit it. Coaches do not give advice, consultants do. Speaking and telling versus asking and drawing out. So coaches technically are supposed to ask a lot of questions and draw it out of you so that you can get to the conclusions yourself. Consulting, you're providing a lot of advice. You're telling people what to do. Okay. So these are just some of the ways that we can create income, right? As a thought leader. And it's important that we nail 1 or 2 of them down before we try to do all 7. Okay. Makes sense, right? Walk before you run. Let me go to the next slide here. We're going to really get into some stuff. Your framework frames the work. Now, let me recap. This was the exercise I asked you guys to do before you showed up on today's call. If you didn't do it, no worries. But I drew this little graph for you when you registered for the webinar and sent you this little download. How many of you did this? Give me a yes in the chat. In the top left, you put what you're great at and love doing. In the top right, what you're good at and you like doing. The bottom left, not good at and don't like doing. And then the bottom right, poor at and hate doing. Now, I know not every one of these is going to fit neatly into a box. So the way that I approach this is that if one thing is more negative than the other, I put it in the most negative box. Does that make sense, everyone? So I'm going to give you a peek at what mine looks like. What I feel, and caveat, no such thing as bragging. When you're working with me, there's no such thing as bragging. I want you to own your awesomeness. You have enough people in your life that are telling you to dim your light and be more humble or not talk about yourself so much. Look, we are in business, and for the vast majority of us, we are in business by ourselves. We don't have team members. We don't have people around us. We're a one-person show. So I'm never going to tell you, dim your light. I want you to own your awesomeness. All right. So when I say that you're great at and you love doing something, I want you to step into that and own that. And likewise, for me, this is how this all breaks down for me. I think I'm great at and I love doing facilitating, consulting, and training. I love it. I think I'm good at speaking and content creation, but I don't love doing it. I'm not good at and don't like doing coaching one-on-one and authoring. That may take some of you by surprise because those of you who know me for a little while know I come from a copywriting background and I've written books, right? But I don't really like doing it. So even though I might be pretty good at writing, I don't really like doing it. So I'm going to put it in the most negative box. Makes sense, right? Okay. We got to be really honest with ourselves. And what I'm poor at and hate doing is TikTok. Okay. That was like TikTok. I know that's not on my list of 7 on the left side. I just hate, I'm not going to dance around and point at things on a video. All right. Kill me now. All right. So if you haven't done this exercise, I want to encourage you, spend a few minutes just doing this. And actually what will happen is your eyes will open. And this is what I mean by your framework frames the work. The way that you deliver your intellectual property and your genius to the market should be aligned with who you are and what you're passionate about. Now, I see some of the comments. What if you love doing something and you're not great at it? Here's the good news, get better. You can improve. What if you are really great at doing something you hate doing? Ah, the question then becomes, do you need to build your business around that? Or can we start to make a shift? Is this starting to make sense, everybody? Right? It's important that no judgment. This is just who you are. I saw in the comments, some of you are like, I'm really surprised at this is the way that your chart lays out, Mike. Yeah. So I've built my business around the things that I'm great at and love doing, but it didn't start out that way. I had to do a lot of experimentation. It didn't start out that way, but I'm going to show you kind of how it unfolded for me. All right. Okay. I'd love to hear in the chat for those of you here live. And if you did this exercise, what was one of the big takeaways for you when you saw this? Was anyone surprised at what you saw when you laid all this out? Okay, so Beth said, I noticed many are skill building, right? Not so good right now, but later on this may change. Okay. Regina said, I've been consulting, but I've called it coaching. Okay. That's important for you to realize. I'm thankful that you saw that, Regina. Now, she asked, should I change my self label? Depends. If people are still hiring you for that and that is working, then it's okay. I wouldn't fix what's not broken, but I want you to understand so that you don't keep making offers with other clients and doing things that you don't like, right? Jane said, I like to do so many things. Join the club, right? Uh, Worthy said, I was relieved. Great. Michael said, no surprise. Jennifer said, I was surprised that I only really liked one thing. Melody said, I thought I liked coaching, right? Okay. So these are great responses. And so it's good to be honest about where you stand. Now, I'm going to take you into the nuts and bolts, and I'm going to put on my marketing hat right now. And I'm going to show you what the minimum things I believe you need to do in each of these 7 income streams. Is this cool? This is going to be very nuts and bolts. So understanding which one you really like, where you're great at and love doing, pay special attention to those. I'm going to go through each of these 7. Okay. And if you're not sure what you like yet, Julia asked, what if you don't know what you're good at? You don't know what you really like. Welcome to the club. That's where I was 10 years ago, Julia. And we can try these things in a fun yet productive fashion. Okay. So buckle up. Let's get into doing the difficult work of making it simple. If you want to make a sizable income stream through coaching, these are the 6 minimum things I think you need. And there's a bonus. Now, one of them may surprise you. So if you're going to make your living coaching, meaning you're drawing questions out of people, you're drawing answers out of people by asking them powerful questions. You're not telling them what to do, you're coaching them. Typically one-on-one. What you need is you need a professional bio. You need to have your founder story in place. And what I mean by that is why you got into coaching. This is really important. Number 3, you need a 1-page website. You do not need 10 pages of websites. You just need a landing page, a simple page where prospective clients can go and fill out, number 4, your intake form. It's my personal opinion. You should never hop on a sales call or discovery call without that person filling out some sort of intake form. Somebody give me a yes in the chat. You have a limited amount of time and energy. They're coming to you. If you're doing your marketing well, you've got these processes set up, you want to make them take action before they're allowed to talk to you. If you're taking notes today, I don't have this on the slide. Everything is marketing, and marketing is everything. And if you make it too easy for people to book a call with you, they will also cancel on you. And they will expect you to sell them on that call, or they'll look for free coaching or consulting on that call. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that they have an intake form. Number 5, this is the one I think that's going to take a lot of you by surprise. I don't want you to start a podcast. I don't want you to start a blog. I think those things are nice. They're not priority 1. What you need to do is OPP. Yeah, you know me. Those you 80s kids, right? The song. OPP. You need to go on other people's platforms. Don't start a podcast. Spend that energy getting on other people's podcasts. Do you know how much faster your audience will grow if you just do that? Podcasts, to be honest, I've had a podcast for over 10 years now. Of over 1 million downloads. Podcasts do not spike your visibility. When's the last time you shared a podcast episode with somebody? It's not easy to share. What do you share? You share Instagram reels, you share pictures, right? Stuff like that. Podcasts, not a smart way to build your business in stage 1 or 2. Use that time and energy to go on other people's platforms. How often should you do it? I have a goal in getting 3 podcasts a month, other people's platforms, in addition to my own. If I shut my podcast down, I try to get on 5 a month. Write that down if you're not sure. Just so that you have a goal. You need to go on OPP, other people's platforms. You still do need at least one marketing channel, but that's going to depend on your strengths. If you're a video person, then go use video platforms. If you're a writer, you can use LinkedIn or any of those other kind of written type of platforms. But you need at least one marketing channel. And the bonus is that you need a lead magnet to grow your list. What I mean by a lead magnet is any sort of free resource or giveaway or training in exchange for people's email lists. There are 328 people on this call right now. All of you gave me your email address to attend this call. That's a lead magnet. This in of itself is a lead magnet. People came to this training. I got your email list. I can talk to you via email or even text if you opted in for that. And if you decide you don't want to hear from me anymore, you can just click unsubscribe. No harm, no foul. And I don't take it personally. But for the rest who want to continue hearing from me, I can communicate with you. Okay. So this is the bare minimum of what you need. If I was only coaching, knowing what I know about marketing today, and I only decided to be a coach, these are the 6 things that I would have, and I would tack on number 7. All right. Let me go to speaking. These are going to be different than some of the things that you'll see in coaching. If you want to make a living as a professional speaker, as a paid speaker, not a public speaker. A public speaker's one caveat. Why do we call it public speaking? Does anyone ever speak privately? Is that a thing? Anyways, what's the difference between a public speaker and a professional speaker? A professional speaker gets paid. You get paid, right? I see Benny laughing, right? He's a professional speaker, not a public speaker. I think he is also a public speaker because he was always speaking in public, right? But if you are a professional speaker, you need a bio. You need the founder story, which is probably woven into your keynotes and speeches anyways. You're probably telling people why you do what you do. But you need number 3. This is different than a website. You need a speaking page that has, hopefully, videos of you speaking and the topics that you speak on. I want to see at least 3 main keynotes that you can deliver. If you're taking notes, jot down, I need 3 topics that I can speak on that are on my speaking page. Now, with the videos, they don't need to be full-length videos, and they don't need to be a sizzle reel either. It just needs to be enough for the person who is booking you to watch you for like a minute or 2 and say, Benny's a good speaker. He's got it together. Regina is a speaker. You want them to hear your voice, see your mannerisms, and feel your energy. Let me say that again. You want them to hear your voice, see your mannerisms, and feel your energy. That is what the speaking page should do, right? Then, of course, you've got to have an intake form. You also want to be going on other people's platforms, on other podcasts. If you're a professional speaker and you're on the road all the time, how the heck are you going to do a podcast every single week? It's going to get busy at times, right? Don't burden yourself with that. Use the energy instead to book interviews on other people's shows. Now, these 2 are bonuses, and every professional speaker worth their salt knows this. Bonus, you have a book to sell at the back of the room, generate leads, get your ideas out there even further. And for those of you who are in the more business side, training. You want to have a signature training that you can deliver. What will often happen is you'll go speak on stage somewhere, people will buy your book, and then really interested parties will come to you and say, "Can you come and train my team on this? Can you come and train my employees on this?" And so on and so forth. Okay. Does this make sense so far? Give me a yes in the chat. You see how they're different from coaching, right? And I want to make this really simple. I'm doing the difficult work of making it simple for you. All right. The next slide, I'm going to lump these three things together and I'm going to give you an example. Consulting, training, and facilitating. You can see here's a picture of me doing exactly that. I'm training and facilitating a workshop. It's very different from delivering a speech on stage, very different from coaching one on one. For any of these income streams, you need a bio because people need to know who they're hiring. What I'd like is a 2-page website, nothing fancy, super bare bones. Number one, a preview of your intellectual property, a preview of your framework. So you're not a professional speaker. You don't need a keynote description or anything like that. But I do need to know what your intellectual property is, what your process is, what your training or facilitation is about. If you're an executive coach or you do strategic planning for companies, I've been brought in on a couple of those kind of projects. You're a fractional CMO or CFO. We need to understand your ethos. So you need to have that somewhere on a website. And B, you need a pedigree page. And I'm going to show you what that means because most of you have never heard of this because I know I made it up. I just made this up. I'm going to show you guys in about a minute. All right. But you need a pedigree page. Number three, you need an intake form because no one should talk to you for free or without at least filling out some information. You need one marketing channel. I want you to put yourself out there. For many of you who are in consulting, training, and facilitating, let's guess what social platform might make the most sense for y'all who are in this bucket. Which one is it? Please don't say TikTok. All right, the jury has spoken. It's all YouTube and LinkedIn. Heck yeah, of course, right? If you're especially in the training and facilitation space, organizations want to bring you in, they're probably hanging out on LinkedIn or YouTube even. I've landed speaking engagements through YouTube, people watching videos, right? Random, it happens once in a while. It's not my regular business practice, but LinkedIn would be a good idea to start, right? And then, of course, likewise with speakers, bonus would be having a book. If you have intellectual property and then you have it packaged in a book, it can go really far. I'll say this, and I say this in all kindness. It doesn't matter if your topic's really dry or boring. Just have the book. What happens is people hear you speak or facilitate, they buy the book, right? They read 2 chapters and then they just call you, like, can you just do this? Can you just make all of this happen? How many of you have ever done this before? Throw a yes into the chat. Like you've read somebody's book. Maybe you read my book. You're like, "Dude, I'm not reading this. I'm just going to join them on the webinar. I bought the books, $10. I've read 1.5 chapters. Mike, I'm showing up on the training. Okay, Kevin said it. I did it with you. Perfect, right? So this is what people do. So having a book is a huge bonus. Huge bonus. Okay. So a pedigree page to me is a locked page where I can talk about my bigger yet more publicly sensitive topics with the permission of my clients, but I don't parade it around there openly. I want to say this. I kind of have a problem with people who go online, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and as soon as they land a client, they talk about the client that they landed. That just feels weird to me. Anyone agree? Like if I was that person's client and I just signed a contract with them yesterday and by Tuesday afternoon, they're talking about me on Instagram and LinkedIn, I'm like, WTF, dude? Like where's the discretion? My job is not to step on the back of my client to elevate myself. My job is to have the client step on me and elevate them. So I have a problem with that. It's just not my practice. And I think it's why I've landed so many bigger clients. They trust me. They trust my discretion. I don't have loose lips. And when I do ask them if I can talk about our work together, they say yes. And I tell them it's in this fashion. A lot of consultants, coaches, you name it, thought leaders are shooting themselves in the foot because that's how they operate. And they think that that's going to get them better leads. And it's not. My biggest projects have come to me through word of mouth in the back channels. And then they look at my body of work and they say, this guy's legit. Okay. All right. If you're an author, you've got to have a bio. You don't need a website, but you definitely need a book page. You can see here on the right, this is my book website, youarethebrandbook.com. And people go to that page, it just links out to Amazon. And you should have an Amazon author page, right? If you're going to make a living selling books, you absolutely need to have a press kit with a book summary. Do you guys see that picture down on the bottom right? Has a bunch of interview questions and stuff like that, and testimonials and so on. You need to have that. Okay. You want to have a lead magnet to the email list. Many authors, they just give away the first chapter of their book and they make that the lead magnet. That's fine. Awesome. You already wrote it. Don't do any extra work. Okay. All right. Do you need your own podcast? You guys know what's coming. As an author, no, you do not. You want to go OPP, other people's platforms, especially podcasts. If you are an author and you want your book to get traction, you need to get on 3 podcasts a month. Jot that down. If you ever plan to be an author and you want to know what I need to do to promote this book, so on and so forth, you need all 6 of these things so that you can get in front of new audiences. And you do need, number 7, one social media channel. Why? So that you can promote the podcast interviews that you were on to promote your book. You show love back to that podcast host. They may share it with their audience, tune into your interview, and buy your book, right? Now, a bonus as an author is any of the other income streams. Some of you are consultants or speakers who happen to author a book, but there are others of you, you primarily want to be an author. But I tell you what, honestly, selling a $10 or $15 book and making a living is pretty difficult. You have to sell a lot of books, right? So I'd love for you to reinforce it with any of the other income streams. Does that make sense? Okay, so very different from what a coach or a speaker needs. Okay, and finally, let me go to content creator. Okay, content creator. I'm not a YouTube expert. You can see this is one of my videos. It's one of my most popular videos, 64,000 views. And it was just unboxing my book when I got it. I don't consider myself a YouTube expert. I'm still growing. I'm growing fast. I'm growing and learning a lot. But what you need as a content creator, if this is going to be your primary income stream, you need to have a bio, obviously, because you're going to talk about yourself in your content, and a founder story, why you got into what you talk about and teach. As a content creator, YouTuber, podcaster, Instagram influencer, TikTok influencer, you name it, you still need to have a lead magnet to the email list. There was this really sad story recently, and I'm going to butcher these numbers, but there was a very influential person on TikTok. They had at least had 1 million followers, and they went to a conference and did a meetup and told all their TikTok followers, I'll be at this conference, meet me at this booth, and nobody showed up to their meetup. Why? Because the nature of social media and the nature of online content is it's just viewership. It's not readership. It's not listenership. It's not a closer relationship. Does this make sense, everybody? Right? So you want to make sure that if you're creating content, you still have a lead magnet to an email list. You will probably need some sort of an online course or community platform. Now, a lot of these platforms are trying to make that happen, like YouTube has membership once you hit certain thresholds and stuff like that. But you want a place where you can talk to your listeners or readers or subscribers and watchers off of the platform. How many of you have heard of people getting canceled on YouTube, Facebook, you name it, Mark Zuckerberg and YouTube? I know this movie is a little old, but they're like Thanos from the Avengers movies. One snap of a finger and they go wipe out half of the universe, right? So you've got to make sure that they're on a platform that you can control. If you're a content creator, good news or bad news, it's up to you. You've got to be on as many social media platforms as possible, right? Because you're just trying to get views, right? And then a bonus for this person is to have a social media ads account. I haven't talked about that with the other income streams, but having an ads account would really do you well. Okay, so this is a lot. And if I were to summarize everything I just shared with you, this is learners and pros alike. This is the master list. Everyone say, wow. Okay, throw a wow in the chat. No wonder you're so overwhelmed. This is a lot, right? It's a lot, but you don't have to build it all at once. Okay. Whether you're learning, whether you're a pro, depending on the income stream that you want to grow, you're going to need some measure of these things. Okay. It's a lot. No wonder you're so overwhelmed. Okay. So I want to break this down and make it easy for you. And I hope that this is kind of resonating. And let me get through the next point and then we'll kind of button all this up. Okay. All right. So Regina said, I actually feel more free, not overwhelmed. This narrowed things down for me. Awesome. Yes. Right. That's what we want. Maribel asked, what was the last for content creating ads account, running social media ads? Right. Okay. All right. Let's talk about peers rarely pay. We're not going to spend too much time here. But this has been my experience in this industry now for over 10 years, both for me and for my clients. At some point, cold outreach and follow up are required. Okay. You've got to have scripts. We need to let go of this narrative that if you just create content, business will come. I still, till this day, will outreach and follow up with people who express interest or like we have a conversation at a networking event or something like that. Yes, Mike Kim still reaches out to people and asks if they want to work together. It's par for the course. What helps are scripts. You can see here on the bottom right scripts. I have a lot of them. I'll give them to you if we end up working together. All of that will be in there. Okay. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. All right. Having all the stuff that I showed you just now in the last 10 minutes or so, all of those things, right? The learner pro, the master list will elevate your positioning. It can only help you if it's done well. It will not harm you. So build them. And here's the big point I want to make in this pillar here. Peers will rarely pay, but they will know others who will. How many of you have received a recommendation from a friend or a colleague, even a family member? Yes, right? But your friends and family don't pay you. It's just the way this works. And it's why having a body of work and having those minimum things that I shared with you over the last few minutes is really important because it makes you recommendable. I didn't say they never pay. I say they rarely pay. So when you're putting content out online, I want to ask you, are you making content for your friends and your family, or are you making them for the people that you really are wanting to do business with? It's food for thought, right? So you've got to point your content toward that direction. All right. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about money. Okay. Getting rich slow. I've said a number of times here while we've been together, it has taken me 10 years to get to this place. I've learned a lot there. And I can say again from experience, my own experience of my clients I've coached and the experience of some of my really high end clients, like where I'm doing a lot of hands on work. Now, I don't also, let me say this. I don't like saying high end client. Um, I know it's very common and popular verbiage. What I mean by that is a high engagement client, meaning I need to engage a lot in that project. I view my clients who are in smaller programs with me with the same importance that I do with somebody who's paying me six figures a year. It's just the level of engagement is different. Okay. So when we talk about your income streams, coaching, speaking, consulting, facilitating, training, writing, content creation, I personally would feel most comfortable in you getting to $10,000 a month in one stream. This is not gospel. This is not thou shalt do this. But I personally, Mike Kim, as your facilitator and your trainer today am saying from my experience, I would feel most comfortable in you getting to $10,000 a month in one stream. Why? Because in one stream, when you focus it, it elevates your understanding of what you really need to charge and what you really need to build. To put this in another way, I'm going to ask you a tough question, but I don't mean to hurt you. Based on your current platform, your website, your social presence, whether you have lead magnets or not, the frequency with which you're going on other people's platforms, based on your current platform, would you hire yourself? Now, you don't have to answer in the chat, or if you want to, you can, right? I always used this question on myself to make me up my game. Does your platform reflect that you're worth the value you bring, the package that you are, $10,000 a month to a client? Okay. So I'm not talking about your skill and your competency. I'm talking about your marketing and your branding. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. I trust that you guys are good at what you do. I'm just going to assume that. I'm a marketing guy. So I'm talking about this from a marketing standpoint. Okay. So everything I'm giving you today is to try to help you elevate to see yourself making this in one income stream. Now, let me talk about income streams. Real talk. I know I had you guys do that 4 quadrant exercise, but in reality, depending on the stage of business you're in, you can't just go do that and expect everything to work exactly the way that you want all the time. Sometimes an income stream unexpectedly grows into a river, but it never would have done so if you didn't do the other ones first. Example, today, facilitation is one of my big income streams. I do them through mastermind groups. These are real people. They are not AI. Okay. Who's in one of these photos? Say me in the chat if you're on the call here. These are real people in my real mastermind groups at our real life meetups, right? And I love these people. I love facilitating. But as I said, I'm a marketing guy. And sometimes I don't know what I'm facilitating. I feel like I always joke with them. I feel like I'm facilitating emotional support groups for business owners. And they laugh because that's what we do. I also obviously facilitate in marketing and branding and business development and stuff like that. But facilitation and mastermind groups grew into not just an income stream, but a river for me. But let me be honest with you. Most of these people came into a mastermind group because I hosted a course, an online course. And I'll be honest, I never thought I was a very good online course creator or a coach. But doing those things led to people wanting more, which led to masterminds. I want to pause here and make sure you really understand this. I tried all of those income streams. And through trial and error, I figured out which ones I really liked and which ones I didn't like. Oddly enough, the things that I didn't like coaching, opened up a pathway to doing something I loved, which was facilitation. Give me a yes in the chat if that is making sense to you. It's really important. And that's why I cannot snap my fingers at you and say, go do the thing that you love doing. It'll all work out. That's BS. If you listen to these online coaches and experts out there that are telling you that, just focus on one thing and do it. And within 90 days, you'll make $100,000. It is trash. That is trash advice. That is BS. Not real. Don't listen to it no matter how much you want to. It is so illogical and stupid. In fact, how are you supposed to know what works for you if you've not gotten anything off the ground yet? You don't have those reps in. This is why I'm telling you to get rich slow. You need time. And because you all said you are fulfilled in doing this kind of work, you have time. No rush. Yes, we want to speed things up, but some of these income streams, if they don't take off, will still lead to others. And this is why you should welcome quote unquote failure. I don't look at it as failure. I just look at it as learning. So you want to welcome failure and you want to be with people who are supportive of you and allow you to brag and allow you to cry when you feel like you screwed up and failed and are there to pick you up. You need people around you so that they can help you keep your eye on the long play, on the long game. So important. All right, come off my soapbox here and start taking questions in a little bit here. But is this all making sense? You need to see the long game. Where will you be in 10 years? What could you build in 10 years? Stop chasing after the microwave business entrepreneurship advice and thinking that it's real. Okay. I know it's not sexy what I'm saying, but it's the truth. It's real. Now, what if you want to pivot into other markets? All right. And this is a little bit more down the line, right? More advanced. But this is a really important question. Do you love your industry? Do you love your industry? The industry that you're in right now, do you love it? Okay. Do you love your industry? Notice I said before, like all these income streams, right? And I want to find my work fulfilling. Fulfilling. I'll be honest with you guys. I started a new business this past year. I gotta be really honest with you guys. I don't love the industry. I don't love the industry. It's a new business, not you guys. I love you guys. Okay. But here is an industry I don't love. Health practitioner, marketing copy. Now I love health practitioners, but med spas and, you can see some of this is one of my businesses. I love that person behind the business, but I don't love the industry. I don't wake up in the morning thinking about how I'm going to help people find a Botox provider. Okay. And here's the thing in new markets, when your IP and your business and your practice get to that point, you get to choose the level of engagement. I love coaching, speaking, consulting, training, facilitating, authoring, creating content for you guys. I love it. I love it. I do not like it for this industry. I don't want to coach owners of med spas outright. I don't want that to be my only industry. I don't think I want to write a book for this industry. Some of you are in markets that you don't like right now, and that's why it's not unlocking. But it's okay to do it if you need money. And then you find another market that you do like and do the things that you love. You go coach in that market. What's the dream here? What's the dream? Why I'm doing this? I'm a strong marketer. I know I can market things, but I don't want to be a thought leader in the industry. So I'll go speak at an event. I'll go consult for a couple of my clients. I'll content create to grow our agency. And I'll grow the agency and I'll sell the agency. And this is good. And what's even more meaningful to that, it's not just about the money. I love the partners that I have in my business. I love my business partners in this agency. I have partners in this agency. So what I'm looking at this endeavor as is not just this is going to be fiscally really good. It's going to be good to build this business. I love working with the team that I have. And I'm able to do that because I have other things that are set. Makes sense, right? Okay, so I just want to put this into perspective that sometimes we say, look at all these things, right? Coaching and speaking and consulting and training and facilitating all these things. And we think we have to do all 7 for every industry we're in, and you don't. You don't have to do it. Okay? You don't have to do it. All right, so let's recap today. I covered a lot. Walk before you run. Your framework frames the work. Do the difficult work of making it simple. Peers rarely pay, and you get rich slow. But real quick, while I still have you guys, are you open to me sharing a way to work together over the next year? Are you guys good with that? No big sales pitch. We've spent an hour together already. I'm just going to give you the deal. Okay. I'm calling it You Are the Brand Academy. It's everything you need to build a thriving business around your personal brand, all in one place. This is the big thing, right? It's all in one place. And chances are, if you're on this call, this is a good fit for you. But let me articulate this a little bit more. If you're in the learning stage, side hustling stage, this is great. If you're building your brand, great. If you're already established as a thought leader, you're kind of in that ramp up stage or build up stage and you want to scale up, perfect. I'm going to show you why. This is not just a one size fits all. We're going to have two different tracks, right? If you're a service based entrepreneur, you're a copywriter, you're a freelancer, you're a photographer, you're a coach, you're an advisor, you're running a practice mostly by yourself, you're providing a service. This is going to be great for your branding and your marketing. Visionaries and innovators. What do I mean by that? People who primarily want to be authors or speakers. They don't really want to coach. They don't really want to facilitate. They don't want to do training. They want to go do TED Talks. You don't have to do all the 7 things that I share with you. Just do what you love, right? Community builders. You're building masterminds. You're building memberships. Okay. All right. So that's what the academy is for. I'm going to give you the nuts and bolts of it, but I want to walk you through what I walk all of our people through, which are the core values. I think this is really important. I think if you're going to sign up to work with somebody and their team, you should know what they stand for. So even though this might seem a little bit like, who cares about this stuff? It's important for me to communicate this to you guys because I want you to know what our team stands for and where we draw the line. Okay, so I'll go through these quickly. But number one, self-education and lifelong learning is our modus operandi. This is how we roll. It's just normal. This is par for the course. Okay, we serve our people, our clients, our customers. You guys serve your people with generosity, empathy, and humility. We cultivate the character, skills, and mindset that sustain true success. I'm really big on this next one. We're honest marketers. We don't lie. We don't cheat. We don't steal. We're upfront. We're real. We shoot straight. Okay. I said this before. There's no such thing as bragging in this group. We celebrate each other's wins. Okay. All right. There's no such thing as bragging. We show up for each other in the way we like others to show up for us. It's the golden rule, right? Golden rule. Okay. All right. Number 7, be organized, be prepared, be punctual. This is just how we roll. Number 8, we're biased towards action. Success loves speed. And to sum it all up, we're here to have fun, love big, and help a lot of people. All right. You guys down with this? Does this sound all right? These are our core values. This is how we roll. Okay. And we're a community. It's not just a coaching group. It's not just a bunch of videos or anything like that. We're really a community. And so, as the person who has the honor of kind of hosting this group, this is just how we roll. Okay. We're down with this. Okay. All right. Let me get into the nuts and bolts of the program just so you understand it. There are 3 pillars in how we do this. And I'm an alliteration guy. So there are 3 C's: coaching, community, and a course library. Real quick, coaching, nuts and bolts. 2 times a month, 80-minute calls. That's a lot of call. That's a good amount of time. And we alternate every 2 weeks so that you have a week in between to get stuff done. Our first call is going to be Thursday, December 14th. So a little over a week, no rush. We meet at 3 p.m. and calls take place, 3 p.m. Eastern, sorry. And calls take place every 2 weeks from that date at the same time. So we meet Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. The group in the past has voted that time works really well. So we listened to them and we stuck with it because they have client engagements during other hours of the day. Okay. All right. Get stuff done sessions, website reviews. We have guest experts. And the cool thing is, if you're part of this membership and you need a one-on-one call with me or Robbie, who's here on the call with us, we'll slash our one-on-one rate like way down. And it's just, it's way less than we typically charge to the open market. So the coaching element is a really big piece. Okay. With a community, it's a dynamic network of high achievers. We use an app called Circle, right? So we're not using Facebook groups and pummeling your email or anything like that. We're using Circle. This is where you can grow your network, collaborate, gain insights. And Groups in the past have demanded this. So we're going to do a live meetup next May here in my part of the world here in New Jersey. So we want to get together. Um, and then the course library, video tutorials, course content. You can see some of the insights here, guides, templates, swipe files. You get access to all of my previous courses, access to all future products that I create. And then any joint products that I've created with anybody else, okay, within my circles, 50% discount because that's their money too, right? So, course library, this is just a range of the sneak peek of topics that we'll be covering here in the next year. Okay. We've got a lot. I'll have this on the page so that I don't belabor the point and read all of this to you, but you can see we got a lot of good stuff planned. And I mentioned this, and then I'll let you know how much it is, right? 2 tracks, 1 goal, your success. There's a learner track for those of you who are in stage 1 and 2 of business, establishing a solid foundation, primary income stream, proof of concept for your message, your marketing, and monetization paths. And we're going to keep you from getting distracted by shiny objects or paralyzed, right? By all that self doubt and fear. Okay. We have a learner track specifically for you. And some of our calls are going to be geared towards the learner track. If you're further along, you're in like stage 3 and 4, right, of business. We're going to talk about advanced strategies, creating new income streams up to 10K a month. You're making money, but your income's up and down. We want to regulate that, right? And we want to differentiate your message, fine tune your offers, build your brand. Now, it's not like you're locked in forever. You guys can go at either track anytime or just pick and choose from the content library. Okay. We want to be super flexible because the journey is different from everybody. All right. So, what's the investment? Super simple. Full pay for a year, $12.97. Or if that's too much of a chunk, it's just 12 payments of $129. And that's it. I would frame it like this. Do you think that, let's see, each of our calls would be about an hour and a half, right? So the way I would honestly phrase it like this is if you found this last hour or so valuable, would 150 more hours like this be worth $12.97 to you? Because that's essentially what you're getting. We're going to do 2 calls a month, about 80 minutes each. You get the full course library, all the stuff that we offer, a lot of coaching calls with me and Robbie and the rest of the crew, the vibrant community that we already have. Okay, some people have asked, is this a new group? Yeah, it's a new group. We renew every year. Okay. All of our products, we just built this. It's a Mike Kim Chat GPT AI bot. So it takes all of my podcasts and past calls and you can just talk to it. So if you need a quick reference on something, it's there. The ticket to our live event in May 2024. And if you sign up with full pay today, I'll do a one-on-one call with you, strategy call, as a bonus. Okay. So anyone in? Anyone looking to join us? People are signing up. All right. Okay. So I just want to say this kind of as we button up, and I really mean this from an honest place. Like, I want you to really think about what the cost of not moving forward in this way is going to be for you. And I'm not talking about money, right? The real cost of not working with this. What I see a lot of people do when they try to go it on their own, especially when it comes to marketing. I'm not talking about your skill as a presenter or a speaker or coach, but when it comes to the marketing, they spend all this time like writing their own sales page, all these hours creating promos that may or may not work. This is all marketing related, right? They spend all this time trying to strategize and then build the right income streams, and they're just doing it on their own. They're not bouncing it off anybody. They don't have people that they can talk to. They're beating themselves up watching the latest guru on YouTube and comparing themselves to them. And they're fumbling through all this stuff. They're getting frustrated, even basic tech issues. We have tech tutorials inside there. And then they just kind of spin their wheels and they're not really further along a year ahead, right? The amount of work that they're putting in is not matching their outputs. And I'm really confident that we can speed this up for you and do it in a strategic and smart way. And these are what real members of our academy are saying, right? This is Dr. Carrie Fullerton. After making some changes in my practice, I found myself back at the marketing table. I didn't want to go it alone. I joined because it meant that twice a month I was spending time with others working on their business. Academy provided an opportunity to learn about new strategies. AI, for instance, that's a huge thing. It meant that I didn't have to go find another program and it's affordably priced. I get way more than I put in. It's a great investment. Okay. So, not just the financial investment, but invest your time with us, right? All those hours, like I just recapped, right? Just spend it with us. We'll speed it up. We'll guide you through it step by step and more, right? What others are saying. Marla, she's here. Business coach and copywriter, huge resource for all things marketing and business. It's a wealth of resources. Helped me get further faster in my business. Paul said, Mike and team tell you just what you need for right now. They don't send you chasing after the next shiny object. Invest and you'll save money on the programs, courses, and communities that look good, but you don't need, right? And everything is in there. Okay. Sheila, an executive coach, if you're growing as a person and a professional, she's talking about her network, right? You need a network, you need a community. Always bringing good people together. Surround yourself with encouraging, positive people like you. This is your chance. And here's Todd, a multiple time author. Academy has given me the strategy to take my business and brand to the next level. Okay. All right. So, what's all this look like? Let me hit some questions here. Is there a guarantee, right? Okay. You can try for 30 days. You just have to show us you did the work. Is that cool? Put in the work for 30 days. Just show us you did the work. Show up on the calls, right? Watch the videos that we have you do, depending on the track that you pick. And if it's really not working out for you and you show us you did the work, no harm, no foul. All good. Okay? All good. I stand behind it and behind my reputation as a leader in the industry. And I really believe in the program because it's worked for so many people. All right. More nuts and bolts. Our first call, December 14th. That's next week. Calls take place every 2 weeks after that, barring a holiday. Okay. All right. Do I need existing clients to make this work? No, we got the learner track. This is designed for people who aren't full time yet in business. This is perfect if you're still working on what product or service you'll offer and the niche you'll focus on. The materials. Okay. We've had several people ask about this. You get all the materials. We get all the materials that we have, and we add to this throughout the year. Both tracks have several videos and playbooks to go through, and any new content will continue being dripped out, and we'll use the bi-weekly calls to help you stay on track. If you are a member, so this is the way it works. It's a 1-year membership. Now, for those of you who sign up monthly, if you sign up, you're committed to paying monthly for the year. This is not Netflix where you just join for a month and then leave. Okay, I want to make that very clear. And then as long as you're a member, you have access to all of the materials. I just want to be very clear about that. The strength of this program is not really the content solely, it's the community. There's too much content. That's why we have these different tracks and we lead you through them. But if you don't want to show up on the calls and you just want the library, that's fine too. But I just want to make sure you really understand that. All right, I know we have a lot of busy people. I won't have enough time to do the program. I don't want you to do the program. I want you to grow your business. Success for you does not look like you watching all the videos. That's not what I want for you. Success for you, from my vantage point, means you're building the minimum things that I showed you today during the presentation. And you get them out to the market. The last thing we want is another to-do list. Okay, we're sharing only the best, most efficient approaches. In many ways, you guys will be surprised how simple some of the things are, but that's why we have the group to keep you accountable and keep you moving forward. A lot of the AI tools are going to speed up so much of the stuff as well. How much can you expect to make? I alluded to this a little bit. The goal is, let's make that goal $10,000 in a revenue stream, right? Some of you will get there quick. Others will take a little bit longer. And depending on how much work we do and what we validate the market with. Now, this last paragraph here is really important. If you have daytime responsibilities like a family, job, all that sort of stuff, we have step-by-step goals. I call them SMUG numbers. They stand for 4 different types of numbers: survival, middle class, upper class, and gaudy, which means you just spend exorbitant amounts of money. It doesn't matter, right? Which level can you afford to jump from into full-time business if that's what you want? I walked that path. One of the strategies I'm going to teach you is how to turn your current employer into your first client or into a client. Okay. So that's a big thing. So we'll talk about that. All right. I don't have a website, podcast. I don't have social media. Is this program still a good fit? I don't want to dance on TikTok, Mike. Please. God have mercy. Yes. Many of our members have grown their business through referrals and prospecting. Some of them take pride in that they don't have social media or content marketing. And I showed you earlier today, not everyone needs their own platform. You go OPP, right? Other people's platforms. But if you want to build a website, a podcast, or anything else related to marketing, we'll show you how to build it. How long will I have access to the program? Touched on this before. The membership is active for a year, and before your final month, you'll be eligible to renew at a steeply discounted loyalty rate. I started this presentation just sharing a little bit about how I felt when I was starting out. I felt like this, and there was a lot of things to be grateful for in my life, but I knew that I wanted to do other things. And there was something bigger and deeper calling me. I didn't know what that would look like, but I'm really glad that I said yes. And I definitely stumbled my way through it over the last 10 years, but I've made more good moves than bad ones. And a lot of the reasoning behind that is because I was very prudent, very commonsensical, if that makes sense, logical, and I was very patient. And that's what you're going to get if you work with me. I'm not going to throw you off the cliff. I'm not going to tell you to sell your house and burn all your life savings and go spend it on some really expensive publicity stuff. I want to do what's best for you, your family, your situation, um, whatever that situation is. And I'm always going to give you advice and try to guide you in doing the things that I would be willing to do. Right. And then adjust it to where you are. And as a result of just being prudent, but strategic, efficient, making mistakes, but still failing forward, if you will, I got to this point. Right. And more. And I'm just so blessed to live the life that I have, work with the people I've been able to work with, coach the people I've coached. And ultimately, remember what we started with, fulfillments and a healthy revenue coming into my business, flowing through my life, my business. Um, it's just incredible. So again, this is the investment. Robbie's got the link there. If you have any questions, I want you to reach out to me, mike@mikekim.com. Just email me. I will email you back. Okay. If I need to shoot you a video and make that easier, like I'll shoot one back. Okay. So ping me if you need anything. You guys will get an email with the replay to this later tonight anyway. So you can just respond to that email if you'd like. Do not hesitate to reach out. You'll get my email when we push out the replay, or you can just email me now, mike@mikekim.com. Just excited at the prospects of what we can build together in 2024. Much love to you, whether we work together or not. I'm going to stop my share here so we can see we can see each of our, at least us fully. Robbie, thank you. Would you guys give Robbie a hand? Say TY to Robbie. Let's thank you. Such a vital part of the team. I could not do it without him. Robbie, dude, thank you so much. Okay, gang. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And, okay, seeing
Thanks,
all the
Mike.
thank yous.
We all say thank you.
Oh, yes. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. All right, guys. Have a great day and talk soon. All right.